Hello, welcome to the second episode of EmanCast. I'm your host, Eman 2. Joining me today is Versus2567, a well-known streamer and well-known Mario Maker player.
Hello.
Today we are going to be discussing some more Mario Maker 2 subjects. We're just gonna see how it goes. So, Versus, how are you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you for asking. How about yourself?
I'm pretty good. Excited to start the second episode. Alright. So the first question that I had for you is, in terms of like a casual format, how do you feel about Super Mario Maker 2 as a game? Like just as a game to like casually play on your Switch?
I think that it is a wonderful game, personally, because there's so many options. There's something for everyone. So if you don't like something that's on a game, you can just find something else to enjoy.
Yeah, I agree. Like, making levels and playing levels are just like, you can do both of that in the game, which I guess if you're creative, you can make levels, or if you want to play a level, then you can do that also. But yeah. So the next question I had is on the other subject, the competitive side of Mario Maker. There are, of course, some teams in the game, like Team Shell, Team Precision, Team Jam, all that fun stuff. In terms of like a community, how would you feel, like, in terms of, are these communities still thriving, and are they like still active, and how's the community overall in your opinion?
I don't really have a very descriptive opinion. I recently left Team Shell because the levels have gotten worse. Like, I used to boo a lot more and more levels, so I left.
Yeah.
Team Precision, it got a little dead before I left. I don't know how it is now. But I'm going to be honest about this one thing.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like that the teams are divided. Like, they're dividing each other, because I've noticed that in teams, they'll literally bring their drama into other teams' servers.
Yeah.
And the mods generally don't do anything about it.
Yeah, that's kind of what I've heard in terms of that, but yeah, I can kind of see from that experience and in that nature. But
So I pretty much just left all the teams, because I'm noticing a division more than what's the opposite where I'm looking for a union.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. But yeah, I would understand that as well. But all right. And the next question I had for you is, if someone, since like I mentioned, you're a well-known streamer in Mario Maker, if someone were to, say they want to start like a YouTube or a streaming career in Mario Maker, with the game slowly, like, I don't want to say the game is dead, because it's not. It's still pretty active. But for you, would you say that it would be easier for like a newcomer to just start playing the game and experiencing it for themselves, for like, an audience? Or would you think that it would just be better to like either play a new game or go to like a Mario Maker 3 or wait for a Mario Maker 3 to come out?
As someone who doesn't play Mario Maker as much as she used to, I still watch people play the game. So if anything, despite the fact that people might stop playing it, I think that they'll still enjoy watching others play it. So I think they'll be able to experience the game just fine with the same audience as if it wasn't dead.
Yeah. Because that's like a kind of a pattern I've been seeing, like, with streamers. Like, a lot of people, especially in the past year, I've noticed have been like dropping the game. They've just been like particularly like just either done with it, or they just moved on. Like, even like YouTubers just like have also just straight up moved on from it and have done other things. But yeah, so that's kind of what I wanted to talk about, like, in terms of people quitting Mario Maker 2. For me, I feel like the community that has like I've seen a dip in people quit Mario Maker 2 in the last year is people in the multiplayer versus community. Now, for me, the multiplayer versus community has just like, I mean, the problems with it, of course, with people leaving it are lag, communication errors, bad levels, toxic players. And it's just like, I mean, it was just a whole thing, and people were, I guess, reasonably were tired of it, and they just left, and people would quit the game at 7,000, 6,000, sometimes even when they reached S+. So in your opinion, how do you feel about Versus as like a game mode in Mario Maker 2 and like as a community overall?
Well, I think you pretty much described how I feel about the game mode and the community itself. I mean, it's completely toxic, and the fact that they're claiming that people are toxic in Versus just for playing the game the way they're supposed to just says everything about their ego. Because you're literally supposed to kill your competitors. You're supposed to take the gold from them, you know?
Yeah.
And then they're going to make a big deal out of it and then cry about it in the Discord. And that's why people are leaving.
Yeah. And, like, rightfully so, because, you know, honestly, the point of Versus is, you know, to just, you know, it's like, Nintendo literally made co-op and Versus. Co-op is for, you know, if you want to have a little teammates, and then Versus is like, you know, just a place, you know, where you can, like, play the game mode. Compete, yeah. But, you know, I'm pretty neutral when I play Versus, because, like, I mean, I don't get really, like, because I'm bad at being toxic, so I just don't even bother, and I just do the fabled holding right to win, and see how well that works. But, yeah, I mean, it's all, yeah, I definitely, agree. Now, there is, for every single, I feel like every player who, plays Mario Maker has, like, a different preference in this, but, what do you think is the easiest and the hardest thing about Super Mario Maker 2? Like, when you just boot up the game and you just want to play it, what is something that is just, you know, easy about it? It's like, oh yeah, this is a breeze, nice and relaxing, or wow, this game is awful, it's time to throw this game in the trash.
Well, I think the easy part is just playing independently. I mean, I'll play some popular courses because those are some of the best levels, or I'll just make something just to, you know, help relax myself after having a hard day. Thing that's hard for me is the online multiplayer between the lag, even with co-op, because people will treat that game as Versus, or they'll literally just kill everyone.
Yeah.
Just for the sake of trolling.
Yeah, and not really worried about finishing the level or completing it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And, yeah. I mean, that's another thing, and, you know, like, with, I forgot to mention, like, you know, the leaderboard stuff, like, the leaderboards are incredibly competitive in Mario Maker 2. They've always been. Like, I'm sure if you hopped on the game on June 28, 2019, when it launched, and you just started playing it, and you could have easily gotten up there, like, in Versus, like, you know, I remember day one, I think it was, like, S rank was number 1, but now they've reached the limit of 8,000, so it's just extremely competitive, especially to get to the top, not only with that, with, like, Endless, and playing levels with that, but D-Steve's is basically unstoppable, like, he has, like, all spiked,
oh my gosh, he really is.
Spiked gold medals on, like, I can't remember last time I checked. I think he had like 4 or 5. I'm probably wrong, but yeah.
He's got more than 3 now.
I thought he did. I thought he had like 3 or 4, or 4 or 5. But yeah, it's been a while since I checked. All I know is I think he has spiked in Endless Easy. Last time I checked, Endless Easy and World Records.
World Records.
Yeah, World Records. Yeah.
What was the third? I don't remember.
Yeah. But yeah, so do you think, like, do you agree that going for, like, top spots on the leaderboards, because I kind of asked that same question with Beef in the first episode, and I think we both agree that, like, the only feasible way to get it is by Maker Points Weekly, and to get the Royal Crown and attire for number 1. So would you say that is the case, or would you say that there are other ways to get the intended, I guess costumes or the bragging rights? I really don't know how to describe it.
Yeah, I would agree that Maker Points Weekly is the way to get the costume, because that's exactly how I got it as well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when I released my Team Shell Super World, I reached rank 1 in Maker Points Weekly.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that's how other people are getting the costumes as well. They'll literally make levels, like, spend a lot of time on them, and then release them all at once, and then that'll get them the Maker Points Weekly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and, and, like, the other thing is, like, there's the issue of the Mario Maker algorithm, which, like, sometimes, even if you make a well-designed level, it may just get shafted in with the bad levels. And, of course, you've got refreshing levels in popular courses. Don't know how they're still on there, but, yeah. Now...
Yeah, I don't know if people enjoy the refreshing levels either.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure there are people that do, and usually I'm like, I guess, yeah, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of them personally, but, I definitely know of people who like them, and, yeah. But, yeah. Alright, so the final question that I had for you is, what are your tips? Do you have any, like, tips that you can give to people for, like, making Mario Maker levels? And, as someone like you who has made levels and in the game, and you really well designed levels at that, and do you have any tips for people who make levels on how to just, like, make the game, I guess, a bit more fair for the player? I don't know.
Don't spam enemies. Avoid pick a path, pick a pipe, pick a door.
Yeah.
I mean, those are especially annoying. I mean, unless you're making a troll level, then obviously add those.
Yeah.
But if you're just going for a level, I would stick with just focusing on the aesthetics. You could use mushroom platforms. You could use semi-solid platforms. You could even use tracks.
Yeah. Yeah, decoration, I feel like, is a thing that is really good in levels that... Like, as me, myself, I don't really make that many levels, but, yeah. But, yeah, those were all the questions that I had for you today. So, Versus, thank you so much for joining me on this second episode of EmanCast.
Thank you for having me.
Of course.
It was a pleasure.
I'm so happy. I'm so happy to hear that. So, if you haven't already, please go check out Versus2567's Twitch. That'll be linked in the description. She plays Super Mario Maker 2 and Among Us, and a bunch of other games. But, yeah, please go check it out. You won't regret it. So, yeah, that's going to do it for the second episode. I'll see you all on September 3rd, 2022, for the third episode of EmanCast. Take care, everyone.